Hello again, here we are in the shed once again on the TVR. Today's mission, as in the last video, I got the engine out. Today's mission is I'm going to remove the air conditioning compressor, remove the alternator, maybe a few other bits and pieces. I'm going to tape everything up and roll it out into the lawn and give it a pressure clean. So yeah, cue the time lapse. Yeah, while I'm here, I thought I'd just show you something. This is a great idea that I had that didn't work out so great. I actually adapted a BA Falcon air conditioning compressor to this car, as I think I explained previously, but this is the plate that I made. You can see you've got the bolts that come in from the side to mount to the compressor, and this is yeah, I ended up having to tap threads in here, and you look at that and you think, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but then you've got your bolt mounts here, and what I didn't think of when I did this was, well, if you bolt this plate in, you've then got to try and get these bolts at the back in while the plate's there, and that's it's not so difficult now with all the stuff removed while it's on the stand, but when it's in the car it's virtually impossible. So you kind of got to bolt the back bolts onto the plate with the plate off the motor, slide the plate in, lift the compressor up so you can get to these two bolts, bolt that in, bolt these two in, and then drop the compressor down and slide these bolts in. So yeah, I kind of snooked myself there. It does work, but I'm not sure that's what I want to be doing in the long term. So see what happens. Right, just while I'm here, I thought I'd show you this alternator setup in a V8 Cerbera. As you can see, it's driven off a shaft there, off one of the timing chain idler sprockets. That seal in there actually let go on me a while back. As I said in one of the other videos, now just let me grab this little spacer. Gotcha. Yeah, now I replaced that seal, which was no small feat, and I don't know what's happened, but it's almost immediately let go again. So I'm guessing the shaft there has got some sort of scouring or something on it that's causing the problem. Something I'll have to look at once it's all apart. But as you can see, it didn't, when I put the new belt on, I think the belt's either a bit shorter or, well, it looks like a bit shorter, but going by the adjustment there, bit shorter than the last one. And if you look in there, you'll see I've had to actually die grind away the alternator housing to get it to fit. So yeah, that's something I'll need to address. Either put a longer belt in or somehow modify that bracket, because you can see we've got a huge clearance over here but almost nothing there. So yeah, gonna have to work something out there. Might actually today, while I've got it here, see if I can take the belt off, rotate it around and see if I can make up that extra clearance. So I shouldn't have to modify this bracket. I reckon if I had a longer belt I could just swing the whole thing over, but I don't know what sort of variety they've got in belts that length, but yeah, something to look into. Righto, so here we are. I've managed to get the belt off with the help of a Stanley knife. Yeah, I think the belt's, somehow I've ended up with one that's a little bit too short, because you see, yeah, when you move it, you see that clearance there. The side of the alternator just opens right up, so yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you look, if you can see down in there, there's a nut on the end there. And boy, is that hard to reach. And it looks like I've dropped a spacer. I've dropped a few things. I've heard a few things drop into the valley anyway, but it's right, it's coming out, so yeah. This is one of these things, as you go through with a car like this, I think you kind of got to look at it from the point of view of you got to fix little things like this, improve them somehow, or else it's just going to do your head in. You know, every time you take the alternator out, I'll probably end up putting some sort of either tack weld a nut on the end of it and tack weld the spacer on there. Otherwise, it's just gonna do my head in every time you want to do any work on the alternator, you know. But yeah. All right, so there we go. Righto, so got the alternator free, but as you can see, we have a problem. So this is actually meant to be an engine teardown video, not a alternator removal video, but I'm going to take the intakes off. So yeah. Righto, so just like that, we remove the alternator. And look what I've got in here. Hidden treasure. Yeah. Righto, so I guess the next step is start taping stuff off. And take her out in the backyard and let rip with the pressure cleaner. Right, I'll see you there. Righto, well, I've got you here. I know I've sort of covered this before, but I thought I'd just show those of you at home who haven't seen it from this angle. This is the inside here, coming off the crank. You've got a series of gears and the shaft here. This is your water pump. Now apparently this has actually got two impellers inside it. That's your inlet, and each one sort of does a separate side of the engine. The outlet being sort of out here, coming out the top of the cylinder head back to the radiator. And this bad boy here is the oil pump, and this here behind here is the infamous TVR pressure relief valve spring. There's a little spring with a ball in there, and they've given people grief before. Apparently if you run at high revs for a long time, some sort of harmonic thing goes on and the spring can break and get sucked into the oil pump, apparently. I don't think it's super common, but yeah, it can happen. Now this is the power steering pump. Now this, see here, you got a coupler, and this actually came loose on mine. It just moved on the shaft, it just moved away from the pump, and obviously these little what's name's disengaged, and yeah, that was it, no more power steering. But imagine trying to get at this from underneath. It's, you know, you sort of got room to maybe get your fingers around here. There's yeah, there's really no room at all to do anything. And if you look in there, well, that's the shaft, and you can see just the keyway there. So imagine trying to see, look, where is it? You got a little Allen key there, little Allen grub screw. Now put your thinking cap on. If you want to get to that Allen grub screw with the motor in the car, well, what do? I was actually considering at one point just straight up drilling a hole in there to get to it, but then of course you've got to see in to line up the grub screw. So yeah, that's why I went just with the electric power steering. And also too, I've heard stories that the earlier versions of these motors, the keyway, the shaft and the keyway was quite small, and I've heard stories of them shearing the keyway and stopping the oil pump from working. So yeah, so apparently it's not a bad idea to try and reduce the load on this shaft here. So yeah, that's what I did. If you're wondering what that is, apparently that's a just an off-the-shelf Land Rover item. Yeah. There you have it. Righto, so here's where we're at. Still pretty grimy. I'm just going to let the soap suds settle in and give it another going over with the water blaster. Now some of you might see some of my waterproofing efforts are not the greatest, but I'm not too concerned about water getting in there, because either today or tomorrow the front cover and the heads are coming off anyway. So once I finish washing it, I'll probably pull all the plugs, spin it upside down, that way any water that's in there will get out, and yeah, heads are coming off shortly anyway. Righto. Righto, so here we are. Giving her a bit of a clean. She's now upside down with the plugs out. Whatever water might have gotten in there is dribbling out. Not that much got in there. Now, I'm a bit bummed out with the finish of this. I don't know if anyone knows some sort of a cleaning product that does a better job than this. Feel free to yell out. I basically just used a mixture of that simple green and dishwashing detergent, and yeah, it's not the best. And you see you got all this staining here. I don't know if that needs like abrasive or something, I don't know. But yeah, but I can always do that once it's stripped down. So yeah, I'll leave it here for a few hours, let it dry out, and then roll it back in the shed, start pulling stuff to pieces. Yeah. Righto, back again, day 2. Not much to say. Going to take the cam covers off and the water rails. Hello again, back in the shed once more. About to take the timing cover off. Just thought I'd show something a little different. This engine doesn't have a harmonic balancer, it's just got a pulley, and little did I know, well, I actually got a puller on this to pull it all apart, but found it, yeah, there's no taper here, it's just a keyway. This spacer, or this thing here, fits in the crank, fits inside the seal, which is on this here, and you won't be able to see it, but inside there's a needle bearing which this runs on. Yeah, a little different. One thing about this engine, that is a bit different is it doesn't have a mark anywhere for top dead center. It just relies on the crank sensor at the back of the motor there on the flywheel. So I'm thinking at some point when I put it all back together, I'm going to have to come up with some way to measure top dead center, because I can't imagine trying to set up a any sort of, you know, aftermarket ECU or whatnot with without being able to find top dead center. So yeah, but on the positive side, this has got a keyway in it, and the flywheel at the front, or the pulley at the front, bolts on. So presumably I'll be able to mark these holes and make a mark on the pulley there, and rig some sort of an attachment here to show where top dead center is. Yeah, so today's mission, take the timing cover off. You can see here I've got these sort of odd shaped spacers that are threaded on there. They're sort of standoffs for the engine mounts that go either side. yeah, so I have to work out how to take these off. I'm sure there'll be a spanner of some description will fit them. Yeah, that's today's job. Righto, so front cover's off. Yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Actually looks in pretty good nick. Yeah, that's your tensioner there. As you can see, this here in the center is driven by a gear on the crank, so your timing chain and cams turn the opposite direction to the motor. One thing I don't think I mentioned before is these motors, the only gaskets in them are the head gaskets. Everything else is just your RTV top sealant. So actually seem to be missing a certain something just here. Maybe I spoke too soon. Wonder where that bad boy's gone. Maybe it's in the sump, or maybe it was forgotten when it was reinstalled. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's moving too. Yeah. Right. Alright, yeah, next step. Guess and take all these timing chains off and pull the heads. Although actually I might see if I can get this nut off first, just while everything's still together. Yeah. Alright. Righto, so we got the timing chain off. Yeah, timing cover. Now onto the cylinder head bolts. Now another thing that's a little unusual about this engine, if you look in here, these head bolts are covered, there's an overhang there, so when you torque these up you actually have to get a crow's foot adapter and do a little calculation to torque them back up. You can see the outside ones are in the open, but yeah. So anyway, no real damage to speak of so far. Yeah, that's it. Alright, off with the cylinder heads. Righto, so after probably about 4 hours of work, I have one cylinder head off. Now I don't know what the go was here. That's whether they've used silicone or something on the outside edge. the studs are corroded up. I mean, well, you can see corrosion there on the studs and corrosion that's been pulled up into the threads as the heads come up. But that was an absolute mission, and I actually had to resort to methods that I really would rather not have used. But the entire cylinder head was basically glued onto the block. I'm guessing this hasn't been changed in a while. So yeah, now I've got the other one to do. I mean, I even tried putting compressed air in one of the cylinders, you know, the cylinder with the closed valves, just to see if that would push it up. It didn't do anything. Rubber mallet, yeah, nothing. Eventually ended up just getting paint scrapers and just tapping paint scrapers in all around the edge as far as I could. And then small flathead screwdrivers, which I hated having to do, but yeah, reach a point where it's like, well, it's not moving, so I've got to come up with something. Geez, it's a mess down in there. What's going on here? That looks like the O-rings. Yeah, it's a bit out there. The hell is that? Okay. Where these liners push into the bore, I know they're meant to have a an O-ring there to seal them. This almost looks like the excess silicon. Right, you're gonna have a fun time pushing those out. Oh boy. Okay. Right, well, cylinder bores actually look alright. A little bit of scuffing in that one. The head itself, yeah, a little bit of corrosion, but nothing crazy. Certainly managed to not damage it while taking it off. Now I've got another one to do. I'm almost wondering whether it's worth. Well, I don't think I'll be able to get those studs out with the head on. Maybe I should make that the thumbnail. Yeah. Alright then. these studs actually look good when they're just poking out of the block. They're actually, apart from the surface corrosion, they're not in too bad a shape. Alright. Well, I might just vac this out and get on with the next head. Alright, here we are once again. Decided I've got to have a bit of a rethink, pull this other head off. I really don't want to be using the methods that I had to resort to with the other head, so what I've done around each one of these studs, I've basically hit it with brake cleaner, compressed air, and now I'm just going through and I'm just going to soak every one of these in this penetrating oil. I like this one because the little squirter looks like the turret of a tank. But I'm just going to soak each and every one of these in oil, and then I'm going to have a beer, let it soak in, and then I spray it again and again, and hopefully some of that will ooze down along the shaft or along the stud, and maybe make things a little easier, because that's what I think it was hanging up on the other head, was the corrosion. As you can see here, the very end here, this was all perfectly clean, but it's just pulled corrosion up as I was lifting the head, and just gummed up these threads and bogged the whole thing. So, because I really don't want to be using such crude methods as paint scrapers and screwdrivers to lift the cylinder head off on this thing. Hurts my heart. So it's soaking right in on these ones. Thing's certainly got no shortage of bolts holding the head down. There's even a little secret one in here. I think that's just, that's boring through. That one on this side is pretty clean. So I don't know if that's in the water jacket or not, but yeah. Yeah, I didn't plan for this. Actually seen a video online where the bloke just lifts the head off. Has to wriggle it a bit, but it just lifts straight off. Jealous of that bloke. Alright, time for a beer. Righto, would you look at that? The other head is off. Yeah, once again, is not a pretty sight. Blows me away. Every other part of this motor so far has been perfect. This looks like it's sitting at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, it didn't come off easy, but a fair bit easier than the other side. So yeah, look at that. Can't say I've ever pulled out a head gasket before that looks quite like that. Right, well, so if you look at the bores, you can actually still make out the cross hatching in that one. Jeez, that looks terrible. This one here too, still got a bit of cross hatching going on there. tiny bit of a ridge at the top, but a little bit of a rust mark there, but I'm sure that'll hone out. That. Alright, so next step, I'm going out for dinner tonight, and tomorrow, well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe Monday, I'll start on the bottom end, because my plan is that by the end of this break, be able to make a call or send an email to the mob that do the parts for these, and yeah, get some pistons, bearings, just do one big order of parts that I need to rebuild this thing. I'm hoping it'll just be a hone and a new pistons, rings, new bearings. Of course it depends what the bottom end looks like, but yeah. Alright then, I'll see you when I pull the sump off. Righto, so we got the sump off. The sump actually came off pretty easy. As you can see, there's a great big baffle in this thing. You can barely even see into the actual sump part of it. Bottom end, just on a very quick visual inspection. I only took the sump off a minute ago. Yeah, it looks fine. Bit of an unusual setup here at the back. You've got this housing for the rear main seal. So to get the sump off, you've actually got to undo 3 bolts here. A bit different, but I know inside this sump there's something rattling around. I'll see if you can hear it. Yeah, there you go. Now I've got a feeling it's the timing chain guide bolt that was missing. So if you bear with me, I'm going to pull this baffle out and have a look. We'll see what's up. It seems to me absolutely everything on this motor is Loctited. This is like opening a Christmas present. Unless I round one of these bolts off. Oh yeah. As you can see, I've been trying to I've been bagging and tagging pretty much everything. I'm not sure if I can remember how this all goes together. Alright, get ready for the big reveal. Will it be an M6 by 20 Allen key with a little spacer? Oh. No. Oh, then maybe that's it. Maybe that's the size. I'll just check. It might be the one, but as you can see, the end of it's been munted somehow. What else we got? Bit of silicone. Yeah, no surprise there. I can hear something metal in there. Oh. Something made out of copper. Couple of copper washers maybe. Oh well. Glad I pulled that apart anyway. There you have it. GoPro, stop recording. Alright, so did some stuff. I got a rod out, and I've got to say I'm pretty happy with it. Here's the the piston that I pulled out. Yeah, all the rings are still nice and free. Little tiny short rod. Yeah, the skirt of the piston, a few little tiny scuff marks there, but hardly anything really. Yeah, a few little scuff marks. Oops, nothing crazy. Could almost put these pistons back in. I probably won't. I think I'll get new ones. They're held in place by circlips, which is good, which means I don't have to press anything. A little bit of side to side there. Just having a look at the bearing surface. Yeah, a bit of scuffing, but for a motor with over 100,000 miles on it, that's it's not too bad. Nice little locating pins there. Same again with this end of the bearing. You can see it's sort of, yeah, it's got some wear marks there, but again, yeah, nothing out of control. And the crank is perfect. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with that. Little flakes of silicone everywhere. Yeah, so overall I'll pull the rest of them out, but I'm hoping I can just this be new bearings, new pistons, new rings, and then onto the heads. The cylinder heads are going to be where the work's at. So alright, I'll see you in half an hour when I've got the rest of the pistons out. Alright, so I got all the pistons out. There they are. Yeah, the condition of the bearings is all pretty much the same as the first one. There was, oh here we go, I don't know if you can see that, just in there, it looks like it's like a little bit of grit or something stuck in the bearing, just made a small mark all the way around, but apart from that, yeah, apart from that everything's good. Yeah, not bad at all. Every piston ring's loose. Everything looks pretty clean. I'd say it's had some pretty regular oil changes. This is the plate at the back of the block that holds the main seal. That's got to come off to get the crank out. Yeah, guess yeah, obvious to see. Yeah, she's 4 bolt mains in the middle, not cross bolted. Yeah, it's where your seal rides at the back. As far as the bores go, yeah, the bores aren't bad. I'll grab the torch. Yeah, like as you can see there, the still see the cross hatching. I guess in that bit at the bottom there, you can see it's where the bottom of the skirt is. Don't mind all this dirt here. That's just from this horror show inside the block as I turn it over. Yeah, a little bit of a ridge at the top, but I'm hoping once the crank's out, I might just be able to hone these. So yeah, as you can see, someone's gone mad with the silicon, and they pressed in these liners. So I don't know if you can see that in there. I mean, you'd think you'd pull that out, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, not too much to see. Alright, so yeah, next step, I'm going to take the mains out, pull the crank out. I've probably said this before, but my mission this break is just get the measurements. It looks like the bearings are a standard size. I had a look at the part number on the inside of the big ends, so that's easy. Just need to have a look at the mains, measure the bore. I haven't seen anything on the pistons to indicate that they're oversized at all. But yeah, that's the plan. Just so I can order parts. I'm away for Christmas, going to Bali. So I'm hoping that I can tee up as much the big parts order, and yeah, sometime in the new year, sort of February, March, start putting it all back together. Yeah. Righto, so we got the main caps off, and yeah, once again, I'm pretty stoked with the appearance of it all. We've got a couple of barely make out anything there. There's a very slightest mark, but again, yeah, that's pretty damn close to brand new. And if you look at the bearings, well, the bearings are worn, but yeah, nothing crazy. This one here, you can see there's a couple of these have got sort of lines where obviously a nugget or something's got stuck. It looks like it's almost got stuck in just at the tang there and been dragged around before getting spat out. But no, she's pretty good. So I did look at the rod bearings. Yeah, I looked at the rod bearings and they're all basically a standard Rover part. They're not oversized or undersized, so that should be pretty easy. And I got them all boxed up in there. All been painted in gear oil because yeah, I'm going away over Christmas and New Year's. So yeah, so next step, pull this crank out. See if I can get this bad boy disconnected and basically get myself ready to completely pressure clean and go through this block, clean it out, clean all the gunk out, pull some of these studs out. I'm guessing that might be early in the new year when I get to that. Look at that. Whoa. Shiny. Yeah, not bad at all for a motor with over 100,000 miles on it, or a motor that had the odometer stuck at 100,000 miles in 2016, and it's been there ever since. So who knows how many miles it's actually done, but yeah, not too bad at all. Yeah, right. I thought I'd just before I go, I'd show you what I'm doing here. I asked around on performance forums, which is one of my favourite forums. A lot of switched on people. I asked, you know, what's the best way to sort of preserve parts that you want to not rust, and the answer was, well, paint them in oil and wrap them in rags. So that's what I'm doing. I've actually got gear oil here, so I'm just, you see how thick that is. I'm just slopping it on, and I'm gonna put this thing in this plastic tub and just cover the whole top of it with rags, which should preserve it. So it's probably going to sit for a few months. Yeah. So there you have it. Alright, so that's about it for this video. Thought I'd just give a sort of an overall view of where I'm at. So yeah, I've got because I'm going to be away for a little while. Basically, I've got everything with a bare steel surface has been painted in the gear oil. The block, I've got an old bed sheet there. I'm going to wrap that in there. I've painted all the bores. This oil and water pump assembly, that's going to stay there for now. That'll, when I get back onto this, that'll be the first thing that comes off. And well, the first job will be give this block a proper clean up. As you can see, it's still filthy in places, and maybe things like this oil gallery, I may take that plug out, and well, there's a couple more around the place. One there on the water jacket, one there, and the oil down in there. I may take them out and just blast the hell out of it. Yeah, the heads. The heads are where the work's going to be. I know the valves have stretched, so actually they need a coat of gear oil. But yeah, but I have here, I've got the info number I need. These are the part numbers of the big end bearings, the main bearings, and I measured the mains, the big end, and the bore. So yeah, the mains have got spot on 2.5, 2 inch on the big ends. The bore, the bore's a little, I use this bad boy to measure the bore, but there were those ones you got to put in there and wriggle them around, and I haven't done this in years, so I'm not sure I got that spot on. But these beauties here, yeah, these are pretty straightforward to use, measuring external diameters. So the standard bore is 91mm. I've got a 91.059mm or 3.585 inch. So that's yeah, it's standard bore. So I should just be able to get a standard set of pistons, seeing as there's almost no wear on the bores. Yeah, and that's it. That's where I'm at. So yeah, probably won't get another video for a few months. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.